India now has the highest daily cases in the world. Centre sends in a high-level team to try and identify states where COVID is uncontrollable. Yes, we have vaccinated 8 crore people, but that's below 5% of the population. Too little at this point. Meanwhile, the national capital opens up vaccination 24/7 from 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. as well in the national capital, with Aam Aadmi Party Chief Minister asking, why are we exporting vaccines when we clearly need more in the country? Delhi and Maharashtra Chief Ministers write to the Prime Minister on the vaccine, say open it up for people who are seeing the maximum impact, lower the eligible age to 25. Mumbai High Court paves the way for a probe against the Home Minister as he resigns but also approaches the Supreme Court. The BJP, however, says the buck will not stop with the Home Minister. The Chief Minister, Uddhav Thackeray, also answerable. French media says 1 million euros to Rafale middlemen, also reporting that millions of euros were given in for 50 Rafale models. This is the fresh standoff between the BJP and the Congress. Elections in 4 states end on April 6th. In Kolkata, battle for Tollygunge, high pressure and prestige battle is on as Bengal's good deed, Jaya Bachchan campaigns for the TMC. You're watching NDTV 24/7. I'm Sonal Mehrotra Kapoor, and the top story is something taking everybody's mind space. The second wave of COVID-19 here in the country. And India now, guess what, is topping the average daily cases globally. That's above Brazil and United States. Though, just to put it in perspective for you, totally India is still number 3rd. That is, in absolute numbers, we are there. But if this average case was to continue, we are soon to beat those numbers as well. And the second wave, let's look at how that is actually stacking up against the first wave. Now, remember September of 2020, where we saw almost 98,000 as the peak. Thereon, we had seen a slip in cases, but guess what? We are over that. We are above that. We're at about 1 lakh cases on a 24-hour basis that we have calculated. In fact, it's not just the number of cases that we are seeing, but the speed at which these cases have been reached at. In the first wave, we had seen around the cases going in from 8,000 to 98,000 in about 100 days or so. In the second wave, we've gone from 8,000 to about 1 lakh in just about 50 days. So that's a huge reason for worry. That means that in the second wave, we are reaching higher numbers in lesser span of time. And what is the centre doing about it? Well, for starters, there is going to be a meeting that the Prime Minister has called with the other Chief Ministers, and also made in a 50-people high-level public health team that will be visiting the most impacted states to try and understand how to curb this virus. But a lot of people calling this also a reactionary measure. Much more is needed if we really want to get ahead and beat COVID-19. And the maximum state with the maximum impact is actually Maharashtra, where it is going into a virtual lockdown starting tonight. And how is it looking like in the run-up to it? Here's a report.
A day before the virtual lockdown in Mumbai, commercial hub Bandra Kurla, where the country's biggest corporate houses are headquartered, is almost empty. From tomorrow, only those permitted by the government, like bank employees and medical staff, will come into work. The only cars parked here belong to the bank, considered an essential service.
सिर्फ और सिर्फ उन प्राइवेट दफ्तरों को खोलने की इजाज़त होगी जहां पर जो बैंक से जुड़े हुए हैं या अत्यावश्यक सेवाओं से जुड़े हुए हैं, जिसमें स्टॉक ट्रेडिंग भी शामिल है. तो बीकेसी में बहुत सारे लोगों को शायद काम करने की इजाज़त मिलेगी क्योंकि वो बैंकिंग इंडस्ट्री से जुड़े हुए हैं.
But what happens to those who depend on this complex for their daily wages?
50 रुपए का धंधा किया मैं 9 बजे से.
50 रुपए का
धंधा है ही नहीं, कहीं भी रोड पे चले जाओ पब्लिक है ही नहीं, बहुत परेशान है. फिर भूखा गरीब आदमी फिर भूखा मरे.
Small traders are also worried. Already facing a downturn, they feel the lockdown will destroy their businesses.
Business is totally gone down. Totally, यानी you can say 75% business has gone down.
7 बजे पब्लिक भाग जाती है सब।
नहीं आ रहे
नहीं, पब्लिक नहीं आती है। 1 मार्च से तो धंधा बिल्कुल भी नहीं है।
कितने का नुकसान हो रहा है?
सारा ही नुकसान है।
India's financial capital once again at a crossroads, with businessmen and industries worried if they can face yet another economic shock. With Purva Chitnis and Abhishek Sharma in Mumbai, Anusya Mathur for NDTV.
And now the solution to all of this, perhaps vaccinate more and more people, for which now chief ministers of at least 2 states, Maharashtra and Delhi, have written into the Prime Minister asking them to open vaccination for all, especially the young people who are seeing the most impact actually from the second wave. Now, Uddhav Thackeray wrote to Prime Minister Modi and said that we need to open up vaccination for everybody above 25. Also highlighting that amongst the 6 districts that are seeing the maximum impact in Maharashtra, he wants to prioritize that now, and he needs more vaccinations for those districts. So let's see what happens to those letters. Kejriwal as well has written into Prime Minister saying that they need to open up vaccination for all. Interestingly, in quite a landmark move, Delhi is now the only state which has opened up 24/7 vaccination. Arvind Kejriwal is saying that 1/3 of all of Delhi hospitals now will be vaccinating even from 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. And he believes that if he is given more vaccination at this time, also saying that stop exporting more but actually using more in the country, in 3 months he guarantees that all of Delhi will be vaccinated. All right, we spoke about Delhi and Maharashtra and also Mumbai, but let's talk about Karnataka now, where we are seeing that the second wave of COVID-19 has put the state government under immense pressure and in a difficult space between lives and livelihood. Over 5,000 new cases in Karnataka, including over 3,700 in Bengaluru alone, and over 42,000 active cases seen. And there has been several decisions taken that have swiftly reversed a series of U-turns by the authorities. Here's how.
First, it was a declaration that schools would stay open despite the spike in COVID numbers. Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa saying it would ensure better discipline in COVID care. But soon after, offline classes from the 6th to the 9th standard were suspended. Then it was decided the gyms would be closed. And soon, in a U-turn, they were permitted to stay open with 50% occupancy. Another U-turn on permitting only 50% occupancy in cinemas. It was reversed to the earlier 100% until April the 7th.
Great artist of Puneet Rajkumar cinema was released yesterday. That's why we are demanding another 7 days. That collection will be better. Sorry, people, if people are taking safety, then it will not dangerous. Then they are taking easily, then it will dangerous.
ಥಿಯೇಟರ್ ಬಂದರೆ ಕೊರೋನಾ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ. ಆ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂಥರ ಜನಗಳು ಓಡಾಡ್ತಾರೆ.
ಸರ್ಕಾರದವರು ಇವತ್ತು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ನಾಳೆ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ಸಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ನಾಳೆ ಹ್ಞೂ ಅಂತಾರೆ, ನಾಡಿದ್ದು ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ.
But all this back and forth does give the impression of a government that is undecided.
So I think he has taken a proactive step towards helping that associations and that forums which have wielded a lot of pressure on him. So he has little bit conceded to their demands.
Given the economic distress seen during the first wave, a shutdown of any activity is likely to be the last option. But with hospital beds filling up and thousands of new cases each day, there are no easy decisions. With Govind and Kumar, Maya Sharma in Bengaluru for NDTV.
So hospital beds are fully booked. There is the hospital infrastructure and the medical infrastructure is overburdened. But despite that, human behavior clearly is something of a question mark right now. Look at this report to tell you that despite the second wave, people continue to avoid COVID protocol at all costs.
Hundreds of angry students from coaching centers for class 11 and 12 clashing with police in Bihar's Sasaram over confusion of shutting down the centers due to surge in the state's cases.
सुबह सुबह ये जानकारी मिली कि कोविड जो गाइडलाइन है उसको इन्फोर्स कराने के लिए जो नगर परिषद के जो कार्यपालक पदाधिकारी हैं और उनके साथ पुलिस बल गई थी। कुछ लोगों के उकसाने पे जो कई सारे लोगों के द्वारा, जिसमें मुख्यतः स्टूडेंट्स थे, उनके द्वारा उपद्रव प्रारंभ कर दिया गया, पथराव किया गया।
Looking at this, it would be hard to believe that in the last fortnight, cases have risen almost 500% in Bihar. But the state is not an exception. A viral video from Mumbai's Juhu beach showing crowds with no masks nor social distancing in a city and state reporting the highest daily cases. In Delhi, where cases are up from under 7,000 to over 28,000 in the last 2 weeks, several people are out and about, barely following COVID-appropriate behavior.
When it's very essential, then definitely yes. But agar government has permitted market to be open, so definitely people will come out. There is no sense if government really want them to be inside, so market should not be open.
जनपद मार्केट में अभी तक एक भी केस नहीं हुआ है। हम लोग बहुत कायदे में रहते हैं।
आपको कैसे पता? आपने सबका टेस्ट किया है जनपद में?
हो गया है टेस्ट। यहाँ सरकारी लोग आकर के सबका टेस्ट कर चुके हैं। ये अब से पहले हुआ था, जो लॉकडाउन के बाद ही हो गया था।
Thousands seen thronging at Asia's largest tulip garden, a two-day festival inaugurated by the Jammu and Kashmir government. In Hyderabad's famous Charminar market, even on a Monday morning, people seen strolling in market areas with little to no social distancing followed. In Trivandrum's Challa market, from traders to customers, no COVID-appropriate behavior seen. As India reports over 1 lakh new COVID cases in just 24 hours, people roaming around with no masks or even practicing social distancing, crucial to contain the virus and the spread of the infection. The easiest of the task now seem to be the toughest. With Bureau Inputs and Ashok Mahale in New Delhi, Shanakshi Chakravarti for NDTV.
This is clearly a wake-up call for a lot of people across the country. Let's talk about the battleground state of West Bengal now, where Samajwadi Party MP Jaya Bachchan was in Bengal today to campaign on behalf of Mamata Banerjee and Trinamool Congress. Now she came out actually guns blazing at her first press conference, reminding voters that Mamata Banerjee was fighting to preserve the democratic right of every Bengali and warning rival political parties that she did not name any against hijacking my religion and democratic rights. She also in her campaign gave all the people there a little lesson on how to wear a mask.
Bangla Nijer Meke Chai, that is the big Trinamool slogan, and taking that forward, another daughter of Bengal come to fight for Mamata Banerjee. Not that Mamata Banerjee needs fighting for. Jaya Bachchan made that clear in her political debut.
In Bengal, Taliganj, her first stop for the Trinamool candidate there, who is one of Mamata's closest ministers.
Do not hijack my religion from me. Do not. Never. Do not hijack my democracy and my democratic right from me.
Babul Supriyo is BJP candidate at Taliganj, one of 5 MPs that BJP has fielded for assembly polls.
ये जय बच्चन जी आए थे, हमारे लिए सबसे खुशी की बात है कि जय बच्चन हमारे लिए प्रचार करेंगे। कुछ दिन बाद ममता बनर्जी भी आएंगे हमारे लिए प्रचार करने के लिए। ये तो हमारा तकदीर है।
जय जी को बहुत अच्छे तरीके से बहुत सालों से जानता हूँ, लेकिन बंगाल में वो तृणमूल के खिलाफ, तृणमूल के लिए प्रचार करने आएंगे, इसमें कोई वो नहीं है। एक चीज आप देख लेना, तृणमूल को जिताने के लिए वो कहेंगे, बीजेपी के खिलाफ भी बोलेंगे, लेकिन बाबुल सुप्रियो के खिलाफ भी कुछ नहीं बोलेंगे, ये मैं आपको यकीन के साथ कहता हूँ।
Jaya Bachchan is in Kolkata for 3 days. The big question is, will she share the stage with Mamata Banerjee at any time? It would signal Mamata's national stature and ambitions in coming days. No confirmation from the Trinamool yet, but hopes are high. With G.D. Shankar, Monideepa Banerjee, NDTV.
Maharashtra Home Minister Anil Deshmukh resigned after the Bombay High Court cleared the way of a CBI inquiry into the explosive allegations by former Mumbai Police Commissioner Paramveer Singh. Now against Anil Deshmukh has resigned but also approached Supreme Court.
For weeks, Maharashtra Home Minister Anil Deshmukh refused to resign after ex-Mumbai police chief accused him of demanding 100 crore rupees a month as extortion. But today, Deshmukh resigned within hours of the Bombay High Court ordering a preliminary inquiry.
I think Mr. Uddhav Thackeray has forfeited the moral authority to govern. मैं बहुत विनम्रता से कहूँगा कि शासन करने के नैतिक अधिकार से अब आप वंचित हो गए।
The NCP chief and the chief minister had both thrown rejected demands for Deshmukh's resignation. The quick move appeared to have caught the BJP off guard.
इस पूरे मामले के सारे षड्यंत्र की जांच होनी चाहिए। कौन किसको प्रश्रय दे रहा था, कौन किसको प्रोत्साहित कर रहा था और कौन किसको बचा रहा था।
The Bombay High Court has asked the CBI for a report in 15 days. Paramveer Singh refused to comment on the court's decision.
Bombay High Court ने आखिर CBI का आदेश दे दिया है, CBI जांच का।
No, I have no comments to make.
The Bombay High Court has effectively paved the way for a CBI probe in the case. But it has left it to the CBI to decide on whether there is a cognizable case or not after its preliminary inquiry. But given the evidence already on record and the impending political ramifications of the case, the CBI, experts say, already has enough material to file a cognizable case, which is likely to be the conclusion.
The alliance partners Shiv Sena or Congress not yet reacted on this development, but a week ago, Sena mouthpiece Samna criticized Anil Deshmukh and said he got the post by accident, although the NCP's Pawar got him to continue. In Mumbai, with Saurabh Gupta, this is Purva Chitnis for NDTV.
Moving on now, fresh revelations by French media have now put out stories that talk about 1 million euros being paid to a Rafale middleman. All this for some models of Rafale. This is now a new flashpoint between Congress and the BJP.
This model of a Rafale fighter outside the residence of the air chief is believed to be one among 50 such models which Dassault, the Rafale jet manufacturer, ordered from a small Indian defence company whose owner Sushen Gupta is being probed in the Augusta Westland helicopter scam. Dassault's order of these models isn't strange. What remains unexplained though is the cost, 20,000 euros per piece or 17.27 lakh rupees, at which the company ordered these models, and how the French anti-corruption agency never highlighted this in its audit of Dassault or reported it to the country's prosecutor, despite these being listed as gifts to clients. In their series of reports, the French website Mediapart says the agency's inspectors found that Dassault had agreed to pay €1 million to a middleman just after the 2016 signing of the Rafale fighter jet deal. That middleman is now accused of money laundering in India in another defense deal. However, in an interview to NDTV, the author of the report says Mediapart has no knowledge of whether this middleman actually paid off someone to facilitate some part of the €7.8 billion Rafale deal.
Again, I'm just a reporter, so I try to do my best to find information. But, I don't want to speculate about the stuff that I cannot prove. Where can I prove something, I write it.
The Congress, which has fought the last elections on the plank of a corrupt Rafale deal, wants an investigation.
देश के सबसे बड़े रक्षा सौदे में कमीशनखोरी और बिचौलियों की मौजूदगी और रिश्वतखोरी के इल्जामात की पूरी निष्पक्ष जांच नहीं होनी चाहिए.
The BJP says the Congress knows the alleged middleman Sushen Gupta all too well.
सबसे मजेदार बात यह है कि उसने सुशेन गुप्ता का नाम लिया है. ये सुशेन गुप्ता कौन है? तो सलमान खुर्शीद ने तो पब्लिकली कहा है कि हम इसके परिवार को जानते हैं.
Gupta, who runs DefSys Solutions, has been investigated by both the CBI and Enforcement Directorate in the Augusta Westland VVIP helicopter scam and was arrested on money laundering charges. He's alleged to have illegally acquired Defence Ministry documents. He's out on bail. The Indian Air Force isn't commenting on the French report for now. With Arvind Gunasekara, Vishnu Shom for NDTV.
Let's shift our focus to something that has really got the nation's attention, the tragic death of the CRPF jawans as they were caught in an ambush with the Naxals. Amit Shah was in Chhattisgarh today along with the Chhattisgarh Chief Minister. He went and met all those injured and all those who lost their lives as well. He said, we will take this war to a logical end.
An injured security personal's message just as he was evacuated from the encounter site, where 22 of his colleagues were killed in a Naxal ambush.
मैं अनिल कुमार दुबे, आपका भाई, आपका बेटा, आपका भतीजा, हमारे बहुत सारे दोस्त मारे गए हैं, कुछ बचे हुए हैं जो जा रहे हैं इलाज के लिए.
In Jagdalpur, the Union Home Minister flew down for tributes and promising the end of Naxal terror. This was the second major attack in 10 days.
इस लड़ाई में अंत में नक्सलवादियों के खिलाफ हमारी विजय निश्चित है.
But what led to one of the worst ever assault on security forces by the Maoists in recent past?
Our sources said that the presence of two top guerrilla leaders, Hidma and Sujata, in the Jagargunda-Jonaguda Tarem belt was a trap.
Up to 2,000 personnel from 6 camps were mobilized to intercept the outlaw duo. Hidma, in his early 30s, carries a cash reward of 40 lakh rupees and is suspected to be behind several such attacks, including the one on March 11 in Sukma, in which 25 CRPF personnel were killed in action, and the May 2013 one in Jiram Valley. Once one of the teams reached the spot, some 400 Maoists encircled the security personnel from 3 sides in a U-shaped attack. A heavy gun battle ensued in the jungle, and while the forces fought back with all their might, they suffered huge losses due to the ultras' tactical advantage.
हम लोग जो थे वो करीब 400 आसपास में थे और जब हम लोग पता है ना कि उनको सारी खबर हमारी सारी खबर मिल रही थी उनको हर तरीके से जो उनकी सिविल टीम जो रेकी करती है जो गांव वाले थे या जो महिलाएं थी वो सारी हमारी जहां भी जो भी लोकेशंस थी वो सब अपने तरीके से रिवील कर रहे थे जो है
वेपन ऐसा जानकारी में आ रहा है कि वेपन उनके द्वारा रॉकेट लॉन्चर भी यूज किया गया है और हैंड ग्रेनेड भी यूज किए गए हैं.
However, the Congress Chief Minister was contradicted by his party leader Rahul Gandhi, even though the CRPF chief also said there was no intelligence failure.
बिल्कुल चूक नहीं है, ये कोई कैंप में हमला नहीं हुआ है, इंटेलिजेंस फेलियर नहीं है.
Rahul Gandhi, however, tweeted, if there was no intelligence failure, then a 1:1 death ratio means it was a poorly designed and incompetently executed operation. Our jawans were not cannon fodder to be martyred at will. With Anurag Dwari, Joshua Chin for NDTV.
And let's leave you with these visuals coming to us from battleground at Tamil Nadu, preparing to go into polls on the 6th of April. And well, donkeys there are carrying the EVMs to villages in the Natham area. And this is all ahead of those crucial elections. Really kudos to all the Election Commission officers who are preparing this mammoth exercise of polling. All right, that's it from us. Stay tuned to NDTV. Tomorrow's a big day. Lots coming up.